difficulties. Bear with me. Hang on. Right. I'm here. Hello. Hi. Hello. Right, everything is just kind of working, I think. Hang on. Who's in chat? Hi, Ashley. Hello. Okay. Hello to everyone who's been waiting. I'm Nicole, not another budget, and I'm live for the first time in a while. But for some reason, the screen is the wrong side up, side down. Why is it doing that? I love technical issues. I'm a tech teacher and I can't even get the technical stuff straight. Hi, Terry. This is all good fun. I've nailed this the past few times I've done lives and I cannot understand for the life of me what is going on. Nope, not that. No, I don't want a filter. Okay, some of you are going to be seeing this at quite a strange angle, so I do apologise for that. I had started and what I thought was set the right thing. Apparently not. So the good news is it's just my hands, I guess. So, and you might see the cat. Hi, how is everyone? There's 8 in with us at the minute. Yeah, take your shoes off, get settled. I have a really interesting water tonight because I've got to reduce my coffee intake. I think that's the healthy thing. And as always with my lives, there is no set structure to these. It's very much led by what you guys put in the chat. I might come in and have a certain thing I might want to talk about, which I do or I don't, but they're really informal. Sometimes I've gone for quite a long time. I don't think I'm going to go for as long tonight. I want to kind of cap it off at about 45 minutes. But let me know who's here. Equally, if you're a lurker and you don't get engaged in the chat, that's fine. Welcome to lurking in Not Another Budget's chat. This was going to be last night and then I realised how knackered I was. So I just felt the best thing to do would be to sleep. Because I definitely needed the sleep because it's been an interesting few weeks, as I'm sure you've picked up from my recent videos anyway. And Bowie is thriving, which is wonderful, considering his various health complications. And I am, yes, probably realistically not thriving, but that's fine. I don't need to be thriving now. And I think that's something that we need to remember. So this is probably going to be a bit of a money and mental health chat. So if that's not for you, have a wonderful Saturday evening. And first of all, thanks for coming and spending your Saturday evenings with me as well. Hello to Jennifer, who has popped up in the chat. Thanks for spending your Saturday evening with me, with my really interesting and fun glass of water. There may be a cat appearance, but realistically, he is on a fluffy bed at the minute and is loving life. So this realistically is probably going to be a little bit of an evening of kind of money and mental health talk and why when you think things are going fine, as I was, because things are going fine. They were fine. Everything was fine. It was all fine. Can't you tell this from my voice? That actually, it's almost like those are the times when you get caught out, I guess. It's like your brain goes, oh, yeah, okay, now just deal with this. Along with kind of then physical health and stuff like that. And it's quite strange. I did kind of reflecting on that kind of, I think the video was just entitled like Money and Mental Health, which was my Monday video of last week. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to come back and say. And everyone who's commented and viewed it has been really, really lovely and kind of saying, talking about time, etc. And I didn't know what I was going to say when I even started recording. That video could have gone or been anything, really. And there was definitely the thought just very quietly there in my mind that it's like, well, actually, if you had to, like, if you walked away from kind of YouTube and budgeting, would you regret it? And yes, I would, actually, because I worked really, really hard to get, well, I'm still working hard because budgeting isn't something that feels natural still. I don't know if anyone else finds this. Like, I watch a lot of budgeting channels, not like just UK ones, but budgeting channels that have been going for like 7 years, I think, in the case of Budget Girl, over in the US. And like, I think they're at the point now where, budgeting is like sometimes they don't even necessarily need to do a budget, or they certainly don't need to reconcile or think it through, or if there's a fluctuation, it's not world ending. Whereas at the minute, even a year and a half down the line now, I still find that my worst months are when I don't check in regularly, even if I don't record and check in, and that's more of a time thing than it is anything else. But if I don't track my receipts regularly and I don't check in regularly, it kind of has an impact on my confidence about my budget. And then I guess leading it back like the sub thread through to kind of money and mental health. When you have those knocks of confidence, I can kind of be a little bit more prone to wanting to be an ostrich and just not look at and not deal with it. And I think YouTube started to tie in with that a little bit, particularly when I wasn't feeling good. And I definitely was like, I need to let this plate fall, because otherwise it's all going to fall. And then kind of going, oh no, it wasn't just that one. It was the business or business ideas, and it was planning for this and planning for that. Yeah. And then I think tied in with, because someone had asked me in one of the comments, and I don't know if you are one of the people in the chat, but if you're in the chat and there's something you want me to talk about, let me know. That's fine. I don't mind doing that. If you're happy to just do whatever task you need with a bit of background noise, I'm quite happy to be your background noise for you. I can't, on a side note and a slight sidetrack, I can't believe I've got the screen coming this way. I nailed it last time. Anyway, sort of doing an inadvertent selfie and like showing you my eyebrow and half of my eye. I don't think I can fix it right now. So we're just going to go through and do a smaller chat. Everyone had said, like in teacher training, that like the autumn term, which was the first kind of September to December block, was like the most intense, where actually I found the spring term, which is this January to March, to be the worst. Not in terms of my teaching, more in terms of, I think it's shorter and it's more intense. And I know Easter's earlier this year, which kind of doesn't help. But then kind of a core individual to my training was severely ill. As I was getting more ill and trying to hold myself together and keep up with the demands of everything. So the summer term for me as a trainee, I only have training the later half of April, May and June, and then that's it. So I am well on my way to the finish line. Most of the big deadlines are due within the next 2 weeks. So that's kind of why I'm not really committing to, I'm going to produce this type of video on this day. It's just, okay, the rough aim at the minute in terms of balancing is a Monday video, a Wednesday video, and maybe a Friday or a Saturday video. It depends what I can record and when. Ideally, if I'm smart with how I structure my time, I can pre-record, so actually I can get that Friday video out and just kind of have that every 2 days. And I think that's going to like help me get back in the swing a bit as well, because I am taking a long time to try and do my March budget, and part of that is tracking bills that have just come out normally, and petrol that I've had to put in my car, and cat things that I've needed to sort out, and then just kind of looking at the rest of the month and planning it and going, oh well, you need to ground yourself, because like literally ground myself. Hello, Desiree. I know it's Desire Wealth, but I feel like Desiree is a name. Hi, Desire Wealth. Hello. If there's anything you want me to chat about, let me know in the chat. If I've got a lovely little community of lurkers, that's completely fine. I had to ground myself this weekend. Our Wilko's has been bought, has had a B&M store go into its space. So that opened some point this week. I'm not sure when. But there was lots of like, do you want to go? And I'm like, no. I'm fairly sure I can't afford to go and wander around a newly opened B&M store. That seems rather hazardous for my budget. Of which is how much I'm giving myself, I still don't know, because I've still not finished working that out. And then equally as well, kind of in 2 weeks' time, I have got lots and lots of hand-ins. It's the end of term. and it's my birthday on the 25th of March, and despite everything that's trying to like push in and book in, I have managed still to keep my birthday free. Considering it's a Monday and I'm technically meant to be training, I have managed to avoid booking anything in. I've managed to work everything around it so I can have the option of the day to myself. However, in doing so, I have had to ground myself this weekend, and I'm going to have to do that for next weekend, probably the weekend after. So for the next 3 weekends, I need to be mindful of the fact that my brain is not engaging how I want it to, if I'm trying to be tactful about how I talk about this. And also deadlines, workload, lots and lots of hand-ins due, but then realistically it gets it's a bit gentler after Easter, certainly for me, because those kind of hand-ins and deadlines are done. In terms of what is coming up, well, I need to rebook in the house inspection because I rearranged or cancelled that one because I wasn't well enough. Desiree. Okay, I'm gonna take that as yes because you've put Desiree. If I'm saying that wrong, let me know and I will correct. I think that's the correct way of saying it. Names when they're written down versus names when if I hear people say their name, I can kind of mimic it and get it, but when I see them written down, my brain has to tease out. And even my own name, Nicole, the amount of times I have sent an email signed off with my name, and the response is, "Hi, Nicola." No, that's not my name. Yes, brilliant, fantastic, thank you. I think it's really important that you get people's names correct because as someone with a relatively simple name, Nicole, like I've said, the amount of times I've been called Nicola, slightly frustrating. My parents didn't call me Nicola. In fact, they refused to because they both independently went to school with girls called Nicola who they did not get along with and didn't like for various reasons. So yeah, I like to make sure people's names are correct, and if I have to look at it over and over and say it over and over again in my head and then go, right, correct me, remind me, I don't mind doing that. I have come across some people who are like, no, I'm just going to say your name how I think it is. Right, okay, brilliant, thanks guys. But anyway, getting back off the names track, and this is what's going to be really hard with like my upcoming videos is I can take myself off on a tangent quite easily, as you will all know if you're a regular viewer of this channel. And it's quite hard to stay on track sometimes when my brain is just not as strong as it should be. And I would say the walls and the kind of steps are not really there at the minute because it's too exhausting. That is going to make for really interesting videos, which might mean in terms of when I'm talking, there's a lot more of maybe this type of tone because I'm trying to think and I'm trying to, am I going through and saying things in the right order? Am I making sense? Rather than my normal really kind of active, quite quick talk, and I can kind of engage and I can snap back and I can bring it all in. Things like that. It does feel like March is blurring into one. Possibly from a teaching perspective as well. Also from a budgeting perspective, I've kind of looked and gone, oh, my bills have come out. Okay, cool. This is okay. This is what I'm left with. Wonderful. What am I left with? Actually, that's a good thing. I need to work out. And what am I going to do? But because I have kind of the Easter 2.5 week for me break right at the end of kind of I finish training, then I finish this term straight on break, birthday at the start. I think I'm just going to delay that, take that pressure off the fact that I have a birthday which falls like 4 days before payday. Never fun. Never fun. And obviously I chose to, back in January, replace my sewing machine, which died a small death, rather than saving for my birthday. So I'll take the sewing machine any day. It's going to come in handy, particularly if I just give you a quick sneak peek, because I need to get myself organised. It's what's not helping things. But this is just very quickly me going through and going, because I mentioned the fact that I have lots of things that I have pre-cut that used to be business stock, and this is the list so far of just everything that I've just immediately been able to kind of grab and put hands on from just one storage tub. So what's good is that because that's kind of a chunk of work already done for me, I can just pick one thing up and just start running it through the sewing machine. So even though I have grounded myself to do schoolwork, both my schoolwork and also planning for work for children, I am trying to make sure that like I'm going to take a couple of hours a day just to do that kind of creative crafting, sewing, designing type thing, just to give myself that balance. And I'm really not good at giving myself balance, hence money and mental health, just mental health generally actually. I'm not really good at giving myself that balance, and I do have a bit of an all or nothing mentality, which doesn't help when you're budgeting and it doesn't help when you're saving. And I've touched on this in previous videos, but I definitely there's definitely like lots of things I want to do, as we all would, I think, with the unlimited pot of money that exists in our head. There's lots of things we would do, and I am really not good at kind of acknowledging the things that I have done. And in the comments, you guys are really wonderful at being like, yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I struggle to take that. I will always struggle to take any form of like positive feedback or positive or criticism aside, like any type of like positive feedback or praise, I kind of like shy away from. I don't, I know it's good for me, but it's easier for me to just brush it off and be like, okay, yeah, that's good. That's fine. But I've had to kind of look and be like, okay, right, I've not hit the savings goals that I wanted to over the past 12 months, let alone like the 2024 goals, which all need to be reevaluated anyway, now that I know where I'm training or know where I'm working, and the proximity to that, needing to replace a mobile phone and things like that, which is a chunk of money, which is going to come from, oh, sorry, Bowie, money that's going to be set aside. Hang on, someone wants to join us. Come here. Hello. Someone's going to join us. Hi. Hello. Where are you? Are you there? There's a little bit of a lag. The handwriting. Thank you. He's here. He's slowly putting on weight, very, very slowly, although not at a rate I'm happy with. He's all like soft and warm and like floofy, or gloopy as I call it, because he's just kind of emerged from his bed. So Terry has said, I feel like a lot of people who work/have worked in the arts struggle with taking compliments, seems to be a theme. Yeah, we're really, really, really rubbish. We're really rubbish at taking compliments. And I think it's because we, speaking for myself, but I'm going to use like all as just a collective, because I will lose track of me. And this is the proverbial royal we, and I have to actually check myself when I'm talking and I'm teaching the kids about hand drawing and stuff. So if I take hand drawing as the example, and latching on to what Terry said, when I'm teaching technical hand drawing skills, which is quite a challenge. It's a challenge for certain aspects of it are a challenge for me. So I'm from a textiles, fashion, costume based background. I can't draw a human body. I have to use a template. And then I put my designs onto the template. There's nothing wrong with that. But I can do an isometric technical drawing of various different products without using templates, and I know what I'm doing. But the thing that I'm a specialist in, which is that textile, fashion, garment, costume, alternative event, whatever kind of buzz tag word, I can't draw the human form to market the things that I know how to draw, and that's like my base template. So I've had to say to the kids, because I would agonize over that for hours, because the problem, obviously, if you do anything arts based, is you'll come across someone who can do what you do 10 times better. Even going back to like college and uni, there was always a kid that was the better creator, drama, actor, sports, mathematics, whatever. And I think because we know that even if someone's complimenting what we do, we know that there's already someone that's better than us, and therefore it's not good, quote unquote. So I've had to actually be really mindful of that. And when I'm teaching the kids kind of technical hand drawing, and say, right, this is just all about practice. You're going to look at things that you do and think it's not good. That is normal, but it is good. And this is just about practice, and you're going to have a set style, and you're going to have a set thing that you gravitate towards, but it's essential that you know this because it's an essential skill. And now how do we kind of fix that? This is nothing to do with art. This is nothing to do with the visual arts, computer aided design. This is just you and a ruler and a protractor, and what can we create? Or a ruler and a compass and a protractor and a pencil, and what can we create? So I know I'm really rubbish at taking positive feedback, because working within the arts specifically, bringing it back around to what Terry said, you know that you've worked with someone who's better than you, and that's really intimidating and quite awkward. And I think the thing is, like, I love the budgeting community. Like, I genuinely do love the budgeting community. I myself lurk in loads of kind of gaming live streams and film and TV critique live streams, or film and TV review live streams, or comic, like anything that's kind of a pop culture, or anything that I have a niche interest in. I've always, like, for me, my go-to is not a TV box set. It's a 4-hour live stream on YouTube talking about Dune 2 or the Barbie Oppenheimer film phenomenon thing that happened last summer. Like, that's my, like, switch off, put that on, get some work done. Like, that's my thing for me. But what's really nice is that generally the budgeting community is quite wholesome. Generally, I say that, and it's a community where improvement, for whatever it means for that person, is always cheered on and encouraged, which is really, really nice. And it's quite unique because, like, personal finance, very, very personal. I'm not here doing Terry's budget or Jennifer's budgets or Desiree's budget or Ashley's budget. I'm doing my budget. And you're tuning in to the highs and lows of my financial life. And let's be fair, the financial life that I choose to share. Here, but just lurking. Jerry, lurk away is fine. I've done 4-hour lurks before on a live stream. It's quite good fun. I do not mind a lurker. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. And you have the gorgeousness that is Mr. Bowie, who is here and thriving, and just a little bit skinny around this area, which is upsetting me a little bit, but we'll get there. He's bulked out a bit more up here. And he's bulking out a little bit more up here, and there's less definition of the spine now, but he's still quite thin around his kind of hips. So I'm losing my train of thought again. There we go. Is it going to come back? Yeah. But the internal pressure to do a perfect budget and hit the perfect savings challenge and the perfect debt payoff, and these are all things that I've set on myself. Okay. These are all things that I've set on myself. This month I must do a budget and not go over budget. Whether I share what my budget is or not is by the by. Whether I was sharing my weekly roundups or not, I would feel the same feelings if I went over budget or under budget or not. That the sharing of it is the byproduct. It's the pressure to, I must hit every category. and I must have accounted for every emergency eventuality, whether I can afford to account for it or not. I must have automatically known that this situation was going to happen, and therefore I was prepared accordingly, and I'd factored it in. And if I did a roller, I don't do roller dice challenges, but if I did a roller dice challenge, then I would hit the perfect number and the perfect amount of change would be there, and it would be all pushing up daisies. It would be wonderful. And to be honest, that's why I haven't done any more with what is coming in with the big student loan payment, which is my last one for now, because I am intending on going on to do a master's, so fully rounding up my PGCE, getting the remaining 120 credits, and in a similar way to what I've done this year, complete the master's and have then 3 student loan payments from September of next year. I am hoping I can stay in my house. That's something. I need to rearrange that inspection, like I referred to earlier. If I rearrange it for Easter around when that payment's due, then I'll know pretty quickly what the situation is. There's going to be a rental increase. It's been below market value now for 3 years, and the rent's been fixed for 2. So I would be facing a rent increase. I'd be facing a rent increase anywhere. Desiree is back, but she's still at work. That sounds horrendous. Are you in America though? And is this why it sounds horrendous? Because it's 8:30 over here in the UK, and you've still got time on your clock. I'm sorry you've got time on your clock. That was me yesterday. This is why there was no live yesterday, because I kind of crawled in. I think I was in bed by about now. So 8:30 UK time, 8:27. And this one was like, what? You going to bed now? Yes, come in for a cuddle. Yeah, because that pressure for that perfect number and the perfect budget, and I've done the perfect plan, and here are the videos where I've talked about the plan, and now I'm going to implement the plan, and look how wonderful it is, and here's the impact. And actually I have to look back and go, okay, well, I didn't quite implement the plan that I had in place in September or January, but I've paid a heck of a lot off my guarantor. I paid down an extra really important debt in terms of the council tax debt, which just not given a lot of time to deal with, respond to, but had to be dealt with. His increased costs. And actually, do you know what? Have I done the perfect budget each month? No, but have I handled what's come up? Even his insurance not fully covering everything. Well, I had the money sitting there, and it's a shame I had to empty a binder a literal month after I stuffed it, but that's what it was there for. It felt very weird. And it feels weird now, that binder being kind of back down to 0. And actually, let's just see what April brings. Maybe there is a bit of a danger in over planning, particularly for me, trying to use it as a way to manage my money and mental health. And therefore, if it doesn't go, this feels like a trap. What's this? Where are you going? Okay. That feels okay. Right, what are you doing? This tail feels like a trap. Cat owners. Particularly if trying to overplan. Yeah, so bring it back on track. Particularly if trying to overplan was my way of managing my money and mental health situation, which I think it was in hindsight, looking back. And therefore, I'm just going to let the cards fall where they may in April, in terms of what's the outcome on the house, because that will determine immediately basically needing to look and fund the cost of a move. Applying for a master's, applying for a master's, and in theory then covering the beginning of September out of that, because obviously I'll be moving to an end of month payday once I get paid from the end of September from my qualified job. You know, if I stay in the house, will I be given the opportunity to do any kind of projects in the house? Will they allow me to do any projects in the house, given that I'll have been there 4 years at that point? Little things that need dealing with that are cosmetic and they won't fix, but I've been kind of putting up with for 4 years. Little things like that. Obviously, replacing the phone was an unpleasant thing because it tends to happen. I tend to keep a phone for like a year and then it just shatters horrendously. So I think the moral of the story is buy my phones outright and go on a like SIM only contract for 12 months rather than locking myself in for 24 months, because this is what I've done this time, and lo and behold, my phone did not make it to the full 24 months in one piece. But that's something that was not planned for and could have popped up and could have just completely derailed how I was feeling. It did. But financially, it's good to know that I can deal with it. How can I what am I in terms of like how much I've paid off to the guarantor? Am I going to do another bulk payment in April? I'm mindful of the fact that at the minute there's no set income for me for August. So do I over leverage myself in April and make an additional payment to my guarantor then, or do I make sure that I have got the extended amount? Because I'm still fighting to pay that because I want to get that done and dusted or done and dealt with as soon as I can, because it's such a large amount of money. Am I better off making sure that that's kind of in place for August, so there's that continuality. So all of these things that I could really easily sit and do a to-do list on and then obsess over it and probably film a video and then change it and then film another video, and actually right now I'm just kind of letting those ideas like mull around in my head and not commit. The only thing I'm going to commit to is a replacement phone. The only difference will be which phone, and realistically I will look and go, it's the Easter bank holiday, there will be a deal and a cashback on somewhere. I will find the thing that suits me. And Terry has mentioned the fact that there was months rolling SIM only contract. That's what I used to have, and then that phone it was horrendously died a death. And at the time I didn't have the means. I didn't have, this was really the really early days of my channel. So November 2022, and I started the channel in September 2022. So literally 2 months in, I did not have 2 pennies to rub together to get even a basic smartphone at that point. So I went and just found a reasonably priced contract, because I've been paying £28 a month and that includes the cost of the phone as well, and all the data and things. And I know you can get worse. In fact, I used to sell mobile phones. I used to work for EE about 9 years ago as one of my part-time jobs while I was kind of building up my film industry and theatre work and things, and had a series of part-time jobs, and one of them was for EE. So I know how much kind of they cost and the pricing structure. But yeah, so that's the only reason why I had to commit to a 24-month contract at the time, was to get the phone, and I needed the phone more than I was thinking about anything else. But yeah, what I'll probably do is pay for a newer line-ish phone, not necessarily this year's newest up-and-coming model, maybe a last year's one, and keep that for as long as I can, get it properly insured, because I don't have like phone or tech or contents insurance or anything like that. It's something I look at and then I just go, it's just something I never get around to booking in. And then yeah, from November onwards, obviously reducing that bill down and just going for like whatever I can get for 10 gigabytes a month, which will cover me for my maximum amount of usage. So yeah, but yeah, that's coming down the pipeline at some point. Desiree said there is no perfect anything, most importantly a budget. Yes, I acknowledge that. Jerry says that as well. Desiree is 2:29 in TN, Tennessee. Jerry, 12:30 in North Idaho. And Jerry's the one that says there is no perfect anything, but most importantly, a budget. Yeah, but yes, and I logically know that. And emotionally, bearing in mind my head is not really there at the minute. Emotionally, my brain's like, but it should be perfect. Because if it's not perfect, how can it work? It's like that, basically. But you're completely right. And again, I think there's that struggle with like, this is the thing. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. It's fine. It's not fine. My brain's not fine, but it'll be okay. I will be okay. I have been worse mentally before. Yes. And actually I could argue that when I did my first like debt confession video, which I think is like my second or third best performing video ever on this channel, but looking back, I look back at that video and go back to it sometimes, and I was definitely not in the best headspace when I sat down and recorded that. But that was very much covered up by like the nervousness of putting out like just a first video, and does my voice sound strange, and am I talking too fast, and am I clear, and have I even like with today's video, have I recorded the camera the right way around? Is the cat going to come and knock everything over? And that I think is like the surface cover up level, but actually I look back at like September 2022, so coming up on 2 years, and have to remind myself that I have come far and I can pat myself on the back, and I am doing amazingly, because I've not broken my brain enough to completely fall apart. And actually I would maintaining a PGCE and returning to kind of any form of education and study for any length of time is not a mean feat. For me, I've been out of the essay writing and reporting and inquiring and research and the reading for a decade. Maintaining that, maintaining kind of teacher training during an incredibly difficult time for our department, when there was me and the head of the department being the only two people in, and still maintaining contact time with the classes. And I was looking after my mentor, who was the one that was out. I was looking after his form during a time when we had lots of kids going on report for various things, lots of year 10 and 11 mock exams, at the minute still year 11 mock exams, and actually kind of holding it together for all of that. I do have to pat myself on the back. And not going into debt again. And I realised today as well that I am, like, the November 2024, my credit file, my debt relief order is going to come off my credit file, which is something I've kind of referenced throughout, but it's really difficult to talk about because it is a thing which is like technically a thing that verges on like financial advice, even just to give like the most brief explanation of it. And because it is something that's linked to like your credit and different like debt support agencies, it's something like I've done a very brief, this is what it is. Any more than that, go look into it yourself. That comes off in like November this year, which is 7 months away. And that has like, that's felt weird. That feels really weird because that's been like the looming kind of, the good looming thing, but definitely the ideally I needed this to have like sorted itself out by June this year, so I could like this thing to come off my credit file by June this year, and then if I needed to move it, be fine. Whereas actually I'm just, that has felt less of a stress now, and actually now I can look forward to that coming off my credit file, because I can, it's some, like, for me there's no real point me monitoring my credit file. I know that sounds really silly, because I can pay everything on time and have no arrears with any utilities and, you know, be fantastic on everything. And I would still basically be stuck down in very, very poor. So there's, you know, there might be a couple of points fluctuation, but there's been no point me kind of monitoring my credit file and sorting that out. Whereas actually I feel like from November this year, I can actually start to look and go, right, okay, now let's start really in-depth planning. What does it look like, you know, a year after I've paid off my debt? What impact does, because here's the thing, like the guarantor is obviously my biggest monthly debt payment, and now I am just very much like shooting the shit and having a chat, and we go where the conversation goes, and we see, and if anyone says anything, pop it in the comments, that's fine. Let me know what way you want me to go. I don't like doing a lot of like forward planning, because it always felt like, well, I've got this in terms of like financial things. I've got this thing, which is this credit thing on my credit file, and it feels November 2024 feels like a decade away, and actually I've just been inching closer and closer and closer. You off? Okay, don't sleep on the fabric. Okay, fine. So that's always felt like ages away. It's felt like whenever I've thought about it, it's always felt like a decade, whether it's been last year, this year, or last month. It felt like a decade away. Actually it's not, it's 7 months, so that's inching closer and closer. And I have the school job secured, so I know my geographic area, and I know therefore what my fluctuations are going to be. I know that because where I live, I'm 3 miles from a county border, and my school that I am going to be teaching in is in the next county, but just over the border, basically. So a large part of the cost of living for my area is because it's a county. It's a high cost of living county. It's a smaller one. And the county that my school is in is a much larger county, and therefore there are, I would say, more variations for potentially lower costs of living, potentially. I am at the minute thinking, okay, 2 years early careers teacher, which is an extended induction. If I don't pass those 2 years, then I can't teach mainstream or state educated schools, and private schools may therefore, or independent schools may also then go, well, hang on, that's not really attractive to us either, because I've not passed that. So there's a little bit of extra pressure there. But for me, okay, can I shoulder for the next 2 years a bit more home security and stay where I am in my current house? Work out kind of the jump in the credit file, which will probably take me, I think, to about average. So average, still not ideal if I want to look at anything a bit more permanent. Okay, right, I've got those 2 years, 18 months then, I'm in this house. What do I want to do at the end of it? Because I like my house, I would like to buy my house. That feels very impossible. But where am I going to be? What's my journey through teaching going to look like? What's the potential for me if I actually really start looking after myself? And actually I haven't, certainly since I've started the channel. I've just been having to hit the ground running, and then bulldozing my way through as many brick walls as I can find until a brick wall came up and went, no, you're not getting through me. And now very much forcing me to put the brakes on. But that does mean that you know what, putting your brakes on is fine. And you know what, life according to Sean, hang on, Sean, what have you got for me? So Okay, Sean, you're not alone. Desiree's jumping off to go charge her phone. So Desiree is also leaving. I'm sorry. Okay, life according to Sean. Sean has been dumped very suddenly. So they're a stinker. They're an absolute stinker. So we're all going to pile on in your behalf. So everyone in the chat, pile on to Sean's ex because they're an absolute stinker. And Mother's Day is tomorrow and a bad time of year for you. So I have a mum and I love her dearly. We've not always had the best relationship. We've had quite a difficult relationship in the past, mainly down to money, two very different money personalities. And therefore, even though my mum is here, that also means that it can be quite difficult for me as well. Mothering Sunday was actually, and there'll be a historian in the chat or in the comments who'll know more, but it was actually a time for you to okay, religion aside, Mothering Sunday used to be a time for you to return to your mother church and for you to basically take the day for rest. Sunday being a day of rest, you'd return to your mother church. And obviously the church way back in the day would be responsible for kind of your, I guess, spiritual health. I'm probably mucking this up completely in terms of the history. I'm trying to do the whole respectful thing. But basically, I would say that if Mothering Sunday, like for you, is a difficult time for me, it's actually I'm going to take that day for me to kind of ground myself and go back to myself. I may need to take 4 hours to write 2,500 words of a PGC evidence inquiry, but I'm going to take that time for me. And I think, because it's been a long, I mean, I'm now a crazy cat lady spinster and I quite embrace my spinster status. It's quite fun. I think that well, he's obviously okay, Sean. He's not a decent one because he's just dumped you suddenly. This is where my really blunt brain. I'm really sorry if that was quite insensitive. This is where my blunt brain and like the lack of walls and filters could potentially be a problem. Sean, no, he was a stinker, and I'm all of a sudden far more invested in the stinker then guys, we'll talk about my mental health later. Sean, tell me everything I need to know. I would take the day for you and for you at the minute, if that means that you need to wallow. I mean, yeah, it's probably a stinker. And you know what, Sean? I feel like timing wise, cosmically, you've probably saved yourself potentially a really difficult mother-in-law too. So maybe this was cosmic timing. This is not a good weekend historically, and he has just saved you from an awful mother-in-law. I don't know. Yeah, no, yes, Sean, in terms of the ADHD rejection sensitivity. It's not rejection sensitivity, it's actual rejection. It's fine. You can be sensitive about this, okay? Yes, be sensitive. Did he do it over text? Please tell me you didn't do it over text. That's such a cowardly thing to do. I need more. I just tell me everything. I need to know. This is what the kids are like. This is what the kids are like when they're like doing the whole low-level disruption thing, and I'm chatting, and I'm like, "What's the gossip? Genuinely tell me. I need to know everything." And then they just spill. He asked me to call when I was free. That's never okay. So the kids inadvertently spill their gossip to me, and I'm like, "Oh, really? You're the one that gave the hammer to the year 7 and told the year 7 to go across to Miss H's classroom and hit Miss H. Year 7 did not hit Miss H. And the year 11s in question didn't think the year 7 would take the hammer. I mean, not even being able to do it face to face, that's horrendous. Okay, I'm going to still stick to the cowardly thing. I mean, I'm awful. I hate speaking to on the phone. And then he said I was gutted not to feel the same. Right, okay. So, update from Sean. For those lurkers in the chat who I know are eagerly following along. He said he was gutted not to feel the same and cried. But Sean said, mate, you were here only this morning and they'd had a great time. Okay. I mean, if he's crying, I'm all for men emoting their feelings. Absolutely. And I say that genuinely, although I'm being quite blunt and candid at the minute. I'm all for men emoting their feelings, but why is he crying? Or did you cry? If you cried, that makes sense. Why is he crying? If he broke up with you, why is he the one crying? Sean, I feel like you've had a lucky escape. Between the potential of an awful mother-in-law and someone who's crying. This is, I mean, peak chocolate time, because Easter goodies. Sean has expanded. Basically, he wasn't feeling it and he wished he did, because he said Sean's amazing. We know Sean's amazing because Sean's got an amazing channel and she's wonderful and she's changed the direction of this chat for the better, for sure. Well, then he needs to work on why. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You can tell why I am a spinster cat lady, can't you? Because my tolerance for many things aren't there. Well, then why didn't he do the work to try and feel it? And if he didn't, why did he not say or give any indication earlier? Because I know us neurodivergent types fall heavy and hard. No, Sean, please railroad. It's fine. It's okay. Do not apologize. It's fine. Like, I live. It sounds awful. I live for stuff like this. Like the kids having a breakup when they're like 11 years old, and they're crying in the corner. The girl's crying in the corner because the love of their life has left them after 2 weeks. Oh, I live for this. Okay. Sean A has not railroaded. Sean, I think there was someone else. I mean, I've got no proof of this. I think there was someone else. I've got not just a feeling. I think there was someone else to kind of drop it suddenly, and I think that someone else might have been around maybe before you, and there might have been a bit more of an ultimatum, or they wanted and again, I've got no proof of this, guys, so anyone drop in. I've been single for a while, happily, I might add. I feel like there might have been someone else, and that person gave them an ultimatum, or he wanted you to change for him, and it's all your fault for going too heavy, too hard, because brains, and yeah, and that's why I think you've had a lucky escape. No matter how much of a good time you have in the mornings. I think you've had a lucky escape, Sean. I know it doesn't feel like it now. I think I think you've given yourself the perfect opportunity this weekend to get yourself down to Tesco's before it closes at 10 p.m. and just inhale chocolate like your life depends on it. Okay, Sean has elaborated for us and said maybe, perhaps someone he was previously with has hinted to come back in his life. He said I was the closest he's been to someone since his last relationship, and that relationship hurt him. I think there was the other one. I think there was, I think there was another woman, and I think there was someone else. And the potential of what might have been with this person, I think. And also as well, like, I don't like mixed messaging from people. It's something I really, really struggle with. And my radar for mixed messaging is, aka bullshit, is quite high. Okay, so Sean has also said he was getting very anxious and concerned, that she was the one to say, let's just roll with things, take things as they come, which is reasonable. It's a relationship. We're both figuring out the other person. And then he said, I'm scared I left this up about a week ago, and she suspects it could be a fear of commitment too. Well, yes. Yes. Yeah. Well, he has. And he'll probably call you crying again in a week or so. Don't go back to him. Don't be that person. Being single is amazing. I mean, it's difficult, but being single is amazing. Get a cat. They're far less hassle. Someone who's got a fear of commitment and someone who is going to cry and put their emotions onto you in a non-reciprocal, I'm going to just cry. Terry said he's sabotaging. Yes, obviously, like self-fulfilling prophecy right there. Sian runs a budgie rescue. That's amazing. And she has 3 dogs, even better. I feel like a cat could complement that, but I understand 3 dogs may make it difficult. Why do you want a relationship? I just wish I was content with how many budgies. I mean, this is difficult because I have been single for 5 years. And even when I was in a relationship, though, we never got to the point where like we'd moved in and we were like spreading the cost of things together. So therefore, like, I've always been financially independent, and the only time I've ever thought a relationship would be nice would be actually, it would be nice to not have to shoulder the costs of everything myself. It would be nice to get home and have someone else cook dinner, and it would be nice for someone else to take the bins out, and it would be nice for someone to for someone else to like take the stress for a day. But I don't need, personally, I don't need the emotional fulfillment that comes with a relationship, because I also know that I'm a prime candidate for someone going, you could be fun to take advantage of, because I know that I've not got all of my ducks in a row, and I know that emotionally, and certainly from a mental health perspective, I could put myself in a situation and leave myself quite vulnerable in a way that I'm not prepared to be, candidly speaking. But I have built relationships in different ways. So the aforementioned difficult relationship with my mum means that actually, with a lot of work, there's really, 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 really clear boundaries. So us discussing money is an absolute no-go. Mum coming over to pop the cat in her car so that I can hide him, so I can have a rental inspection because he's not known about. Yes, she'd do it in a heartbeat. And she was the person that, when Bowie was horrendously ill, dropped everything at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night when she had work the next day. No, she didn't have work the next day. What was she doing? She's planning my granddad's funeral, so her dad's funeral the next day. Dropped everything, we went to the emergency vets, and we sat in the emergency vets for an hour, and she doesn't like driving at night. I've got a really, really good relationship with my neighbour and her son, so she's not the easiest person, But I know that I can say to her, I'm running late. Are you going to Tesco's? Can you really quickly pick this up for me, and vice versa? Can you pop in and like do this for me? I'll pop in and do that for you. I've found the relationship fulfillment in other ways. Because also as well, like I don't have the time or the money to sustain a relationship at the minute. I'm too busy. And the easier things would be nice. Like you said, that's what you love about being in a relationship. But for me, there's so many things like I need to quote unquote heal myself for to before I actually sit there and think, do I want a relationship? And I'm going to be 32 in 2 weeks' time. And I have never been in love in that way. I've never felt that kind of deep, all-consuming love for a partner. So I don't really know what I'm missing, to be fair, as well. I know that I would want to love myself, I think, before I were to give myself kind of emotionally and vulnerably to another partner again. Because I know that I love deeply. I love my family deeply. I love my friends deeply. I clearly love Bowie deeply for the amount of money that he's definitely costing me. And I know that actually I can't give that at the minute for quite some time either. And taking aside like the Instagram, social media, marketed self-discovery stuff, I think you're fully entitled to feel crap and inhale the chocolate or Pringles or whatever it is. Just like do the cliche and like get under a blanket with your budgies and your dogs and just be with you. I think like be with you. Personally, that's my take. Anyone else who has another take, pop it in the comments. I mean, Terry has quite rightfully said, get a cat, not a boyfriend. Yes. They're far less hassle. They're smaller as well. Like, it's smaller to manage. Damn it. No, stop. Right, okay. Brain, no. Don't go in that direction. Yeah. So Sian has excellently diverted us off. I still think there's someone else, and if he's self-sabotaging, then there's always going to be. He'll self-sabotage everything. He'd self-sabotage your wedding day and get cold feet. So let's not. But yeah, I am completely tuckered out because it's been a long week. Yeah, and Sian has said, so Sian has followed up and said she's 36, good age. She's experienced a good longer term relationship and so lucky that she's got access to therapy for 2 years. She's debt that she's working on. Yeah, and this is the thing with me as well. I mean, my mum and I mean my parents have been, how old are they? Hang on. My parents have been together for 40 years and married 35. Not all of that happily. And there were quite a few times as a child when I would just look at them and go, just divorce and get this over with, please. Because you staying together is not good for any of us. But mum always said, have yourself financially sorted. As in yourself, as in if you need to go in the night with your clothes on your back and stuff in a black bin bag and you can get away, put yourself in that position to do that. I know that is not always the case, and I know that those things can be taken from you. So yeah, I would want to know that actually I've dealt with my debt before I get there. And don't if you don't want to share your debt, don't share your debt, Sian. Like, I needed to do it because for me, the debt confession and doing this was basically the impetus to do something about it for me, because I would just ignore it. So, you don't need to be grateful for me. I'm just blunt and I just say things. And you know what? Sometimes families are more complicated and more trouble than they're worth. That's all I'll say to that. Yeah, I have a very, very close immediate family, and I say immediate, there's 4 of us, and then a couple of extended family members who are there, who I'm very close to. But that, like, yeah. And then a small circle of friends, and I like it that way. I can't deal with lots of people, says me working in a school and going into teaching. My social battery at the end of the day is drained. So yeah, and Terry is where we want to be, which is debt free. I think, Sian, just cuddle your dogs, like have a massive cuddle pile with your dogs, and your budgies. Do your budgies talk, or is that parrots and cockatoos? Yeah, but your budgies will know as well. There's a woman in a sidetrack. There's a channel. There's an Australian channel, and it's a woman who's got like a talking parakeet, and it's hilarious. And I found myself mimicking. 23k is absolutely doable. Like, you can do this, but do it in a way which is healthy and sustainable. Sadly, no talking budgies. You see, you could just talk to a budgie about your ex, and then every time you mention him, your budgie could just remind you about why it's a bad thing. I think, yeah, eat all your chocolate and go out and get Easter chocolate now. Why are we waiting for Easter? May not. Not admitting to purchasing and eating any Easter eggs ahead of Easter Sunday, guys. Not at all. So yeah, get some chocolate, cuddle pile with the dogs, get off social media for a week, like block the number, block his number. Don't speak to him for a week. If he's going to cry at you and he thinks he's stepping everything up, well, he's already done that. So don't have him come crawling back to you when you're weak and vulnerable because you've consumed more chocolate than's probably smart. Yeah, sort everything out. He's blocked. Well done. Hardest thing, don't unblock him in a moment of weakness. We'll know. We've all lived vicariously through Sian's breakup. Honestly, don't talk to me about Easter eggs. Ugh. Terry, yeah, but club car prices. I know it's a scam, but they already had my data anyway, and I don't care, and it's chocolate, and I need it. Because it's been that kind of week as well that rolls around once a month. That's not how it matters either. I'll just have to buy some chocolate tomorrow, I think. So Terry's Sian's going to buy and eat all the chocolate for us all in the chat, and the rest of us can be good. And Sian's going to take on the chocolate challenge. I'm absolutely going to have to buy some more chocolate Easter eggs tomorrow. Damn it. Okay, well, that's an impulse I'm not going to be able to recover from before tomorrow. So Jerry's also here piling onto Sian's ex. Yeah, absolutely. And eating chocolate. Jerry, there's a two-parter to this. We've got to pile onto the ex, and then we've got to eat chocolate in solidarity with Sian on a Saturday night, because we're all very good budgeters and we're all behaving ourselves and not going out and living at large on a Saturday night. Not that I can live at large anymore, because my student days are done and I would absolutely be on the floor in an alcohol-induced coma if I tried to drink the way I used to when I was a student, which is a decade ago. Damn it, my metabolism is awful. So yeah, Sian, you can deal with the debt, but like, let's just deal with your heart right now and sort that out first. But yes, yeah, and at the minute as well, there's like, how do I do you know what I hate? I hate coming on and saying, and this is where this is where, like, it would be nice to have a more than one income into the household from more than one person. Let's go get eggs. You can go get eggs, Sian. I'm not driving to my Tesco's at this time of night. I'll go get eggs tomorrow. He's a budgie who swears. Oh my gosh, amazing. Yes. Yeah. It's hilarious. I love it. And also the cat reels on Instagram. Diane Wood, hi, I'm Donna Wood. Don't worry, Donna, it's fine. You can see this on catch up. The long and short of it is that I started talking about one thing. Then Life According to Sian popped in, told me she was very glad that I was on. Wonderful, thank you. And then proceeded to tell us that her boyfriend, who she thought was a good one, dumped her tonight. And obviously it's Mother's Day tomorrow, which is a difficult time for Sian and other people as well. Sian has then expanded for us and told us the particulars. I have given my thoughts. I'm a blunt, heartless individual, and just said that Sian basically needs to wallow, eat chocolate, cuddle with her dogs, and then accept the fact that he was horrendous. And he cried on her, not a good sign. Said that he was going, apparently a week ago, said he was going to F everything up. Well, he obviously did, because then he dumped Sian, and then cried because he wasn't feeling as strongly as she was. So he cried rather than do something about it. The continuing advice has been that Sian is better off being single, like myself as a spinster cat lady. Sian is a spinster dog lady now. And the moral of the story is go eat Easter eggs. Chat, is there anything else I need to contribute? Oh, have we brought Donna up to speed? Sian has said that it's a very excellent summary. Brilliant. Oh, she's also a spinster budgie lady because she also runs a budgie rescue charity, but at the minute she has no budgies that swear or talk, because I said that she could speak to and unless that she could speak to the budgies and the budgies could just verbally remind her. Jerry has said that breaking up in person is the best thing to do unless the other person is on a different continent. Even then, I would say put the effort in. You can tell, like, this is it's going to take a very particular type of person, I think, to tie me down into something sort of a relationship. I'm far too heartless. I'm like, no, you want to break up with me? You can pay for a flight. I'm going to make your life difficult because you're about to wreck mine for the next few months, emotionally, mentally, and everything else in between. You know, you can come here and do it in person. Thank you very much. Yeah, I quite clearly I'm heartless. It's a dump and run situation. Well, yes. And I'm all for men, as I've said, and I say this seriously and with full love. I am all for men expressing their emotions. It's a massive problem that they don't. However, you're not heartless. No, I'm just very strong-willed and intolerant of some behaviours, I would say. My tolerance for shenanigans is not there, and someone crying because he doesn't feel the same way as me, I'd be like, I'm going to save you the trouble. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to be better off without you. I'm going to take my cat. I'm going to take my debt. And I'm just going to exit and head towards the Easter egg aisle at Tesco's. See, Donna is also echoing the wonderfulness which is singledom. Drilling holes into wood to make budgie swings. Yeah, that's my life now, basically. Because they don't really run textiles in schools the way they used to if you're a DT. So my life is now plastics and woodwork and metal and yes. So, and as Jerry has said, you know fairly early if you don't feel it. So you've had a very lucky escape. Yes, just escape via the Easter egg aisle. Single life is not bad at all, no. And we were discussing, Donna, the fact that, you know, is it easy? Would things be easier if there was more than one person contributing financially to the household? Yes, of course. Would it be easier or just nicer if there was someone else to do the washing up, or someone else to cook dinner, or someone else to take the bins out because you've forgotten, rather than them leaving for a week, or someone else to like be like, no, don't worry, you sit down, I'll do this. Like, yes, of course that's easier. At the minute, I wouldn't trade any of that though for what I have, which is a stressful life of independence, but it's my stressful life of independence, and I'm answerable to no one but me and the cat. So this, yeah, that's been the chat. But I am, as perky and bubbly as I have been, I can almost see the backs of my eyelids because I am knackered, because I decided this morning, because we had a bit of sun and dry, that I would go out and finally clean the car after all of winter. Again, a job that just doesn't get done. Potted around in the garage and got a load of housework done, and then some schoolwork. So I'm going to go to sleep, if that's okay, guys, and have an early night. Cuddle the cat, who is already down for a sleep, so I'm just going to move him, and he's going to be unwittingly cuddled. But yeah, Sean, you see Donna as well. See, us single ladies, I feel like we're very much like, here's an interesting conundrum before I go sleep, because I'm probably good for like another 5 minutes. So tell me in 5 minutes to go away, basically, guys. Here's an interesting conundrum. Are we intolerant because we have had to be independent, and therefore we have high expectations to basically take us away from the I can do everything myself? Because I do feel like, I do know, and even the people, the women around me, have now said, they've gone from the you'll find someone, my nan, you'll find someone, there's someone out there, you'll love it, blah blah blah, to now they're very much like, yeah, it's going to take a strong person to handle you, because you're very like, you know, you can do it. And I think the thing is, it's like, when you know you can do a thing, no matter how difficult it is, when you know that, like Sean, you can run a business and run a rescue, because a rescue is a, you know, it might be a charity, but it is a business, and look after yourself, like me, retraining, like basically managing with no real regular income for most of 2023. I think once you know you can do it, because you've had to for whatever reason, it does make you very much like, well, I've been fine emotionally, maybe loosely, I've been fine emotionally, I'm fine practically, I don't need you to change your light bulb or put the bins out. I'm fine. I've got that settled, thanks. You've got your support network, whatever that looks like, around you, either friends or family you've created for yourself. And as Shana said, it's even more bloody annoying when you choose to let someone in and they do this. Okay, for me, for my personality, I would be more reserved if you met me in person, and more standoffish if you met me in person, because there, at the minute, there's a literal like screen barrier. There's like a screen, a barrier, a certain amount of anonymity for all of us, and therefore we can kind of give or engage as much as we don't want or don't little. So, for example, I know that I've maintained an average of 10 or 11 viewers consistently on this live chat, but I know there's only like 3 or 4 of you that are like talking and engaging, but I know that there's 10 or 11 of you that have kind of been there and sat, and that's the relationship that's existed like in this chat as well, and that's completely fine, because there's that degree of like anonymity. You know as much about me as I'm happy to share, but I've not shared everything, and there's far more that I've not shared versus what I have. Same for everyone else who has a channel, who engages in social media and things. I would never give anyone all of me. Even if it was someone that I had feelings for. Like, I would open the door a tiny amount, but they wouldn't get the door fully open, I don't think. Not for quite some time. And I'm not worried about like biological clock. I'm not worried about wedding. I'm not worried like getting married. I'm not worried about 40 is the new 30. Like, I don't care about any of those things. So I don't know, maybe just like focus on you, Sian, like love you, like learn to love you, because even with all of my warts and all, I love my warts and all. I'd like to change my warts and all. But I'm changing it from a health perspective, both a mental and a physical health perspective. Yeah. And as Sian said, she built an aviary from scratch. She rides a motorbike. Awesome. She works full time and sorts her shit. And she doesn't want to have children. Me neither. So there's no pressure from you for a partner there, towards a partner there. Yeah, I think just love yourself for a bit. And as Donna has said, there's an element of obviously what I've just said, but also used to being on your own and independent. So you're very choosy and not needy or desperate, if that makes sense. Yeah, and I think as well, like, yeah, Sian thinks she needs to be less open to a relationship for a while. Well, just have a relationship with yourself. Have a relationship with yourself and direct that emotion and affection that you were giving to someone else and give that back to you. And actually, what possibility does that open up for you? Like, how does that change? Because the moment I changed that and turned even a little bit of that towards myself, was when I think I want to train to be a teacher. Life According to Sian is now kicking me off 5 minutes later, as promised. Yes, okay, I'm going to go to bed now, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. These chats never have like any direction whatsoever. They just go where my brain goes, and then the chat takes us places, and Sian took us to wonderful places today. Everyone go hit the Easter egg aisle. Don't break your budget to do so. No, don't break your budget to go so. Everyone go hit the aisle. We have all piled onto Sian's ex. He's a knob. There we go. I've said it. It's fine. I didn't swear in the first 10 minutes. I've kept my monetization. That's fine. For this live stream. I am going to love you and leave you. Sian, good luck. Eat the chocolate, cuddle your pets. Mr. Bowie is here, but he's not in any position to be picked up, so you can't say goodbye to him. Thank you to everyone who has watched, everyone who has been in the chat supporting us. I am going to go. I will see you on Monday with whatever I choose to film. Now I need to work out how to end the live stream. So love you all lots. I'm going to see you all very, 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 very soon. And how do I stop my live stream? Hang on. Right. How do I do this? How do I cancel my live stream? I don't want to share it. I want to stop it. Hang on. Right. Okay. I'm going to press X. If it works, I'm going to go. Love you. Bye.